In this video, we're gonna surprise one of my friends who is the biggest fan of Dragon Ball Z with a split sweater, Dragon Ball Z themed. Let's do this. Alright, so for this video, I'm gonna need two sweaters. The first one is a classic black crew neck, super simple. This is gonna be the dominant color, classic black, no biggie. But the second one is, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this before. It's a full design of a Dragon Ball Z art. Literally two-sided, 100% polyester. This feels like a soccer jersey, like a long sleeve soccer jersey. It's not the best quality, but I think the art is really cool, and I'm only gonna use like some details and put it on the black one. So let's get started. All right, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna use chalk, like the ones you used to use at school, and I'm gonna trace on the dominant sweater, so the black one here, what I wanna get off. So if you wanna do this at home, try to cut from the dominant part and use the part that you're gonna cut off onto the other sweater so that you have the exact dimension with some seam allowance. I'll show you throughout the process, but it's quite easy actually. So first step, I'm gonna use this chalk and just trace wherever I wanna cut this, and then we'll start cutting it. All right, here as you can see, you have the chalk line. So all this part, all this inner part between the lines will be the Dragon Ball design. And this should land on Goku or the other guys. I'm just gonna double check if it lands on the characters just to make sure, but we should be good to cut. So Goku here is taking my entire hand. I wanna make sure like I sort of get an entire hand here as well. Should I go more in the middle? Maybe more in the middle actually. Actually, the hip area looks cool. So let's just do a little more on the hip. There we go. It's chalk, so it should just go super easily. And I'm gonna go so I get a full hand. Oh, that's a bit much, actually. So I'm just gonna take this off as well. We're gonna go like this. A little bit more. And here, a little bit more as well. I have a full hand here, so I should get the Goku fully in this area. So this is the back, and here I just want to make sure the measure is good. All right, so now we cut. All right, so we're done cutting the black sweater, and now we have this piece, and we're gonna use this piece as the pattern to cut the other sweater. I hope that makes sense, but you all understand why I'm doing it. It's quite easy. So this is the sleeve from the sweater. I'm just gonna put this aside, and this is the other main part. Put both aside. Right now, I need to cut this thing. So let's roll. What I'm gonna do is line up this to this sweater and just give it some seam allowance so the sweater itself doesn't change the size. I'm going with the standard of the size of this sweater because I know it fits my friend. So when you cut the second sweater, make sure you do some seam allowance on both sides so that the sweater doesn't change sizes. All right, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm using safety pins to secure the seam that both sweaters have on the shoulder. This allows me to have some sort of just like precision when it comes to replicating both a shape in the same fabric, that I start from the shoulder seam so that it aligns perfectly. So I'm using these. I cannot find my normal pins, but these will do. Okay, so I'm sorry for the weird angle, but I'm gonna use blue chalk to trace on the Dragon Ball Z sweater, so it's simpler because I don't feel confident with just the fabric laying on top of it. So I'm using blue chalk so it shows on the sweater. Let's do it. All right, so as you can see, this allows me to do the sewing without altering the sizing of the sweater. So this is important if you want to do this at home. Make sure you do a seam allowance on the sweater that you're using the design from. Very important. All right, so as you can see here, the length of the Dragon Ball Z sweater is longer than the length of the normal sweater. And that is okay, I would say, because I'm lucky. This is not an elastic band, but this is one. So what I'm gonna do is probably unstitch this band from the Dragon Ball Z sweater and use this as the end of the sweater and just do a fold so that the fabric doesn't fray, and I should be done. But what I'm gonna do for now is when I'm cutting, I'm just going into a straight line, and I'll figure this out later because those are finishing touches to make it smooth. So if you have this, it's not a big problem, just figure out after, but cut into a straight line. Don't try to cut now because, I mean, you might as well have more fabric than too little, so you can always alter. So now we're gonna just finish the lines here, straight lines, and just start cutting. So here, make sure that if it's an elastic, you just expand it a little bit just to see like the normal way of the fabric to go down. And then you just cut, you just trace, sorry, and you're done. So you see here, we're seeing the full Goku, and on the back, I forgot the name of this guy. If you know the name of this guy, put it in the comments. All right, so I aligned the two pieces that I cut it, okay? One from the sweater that's gonna go like unused, and the DBZ one that's gonna go inside. And you can see that when the shoulder seam is aligned like this, well, you have the seam allowance that's normal, and then you have this whole chunk that is too long. Thankfully, we're using this sweater size and not this one, but I'm thinking about just folding this in and sewing it on so that it just stays like this and it's the perfect size. So this is just an idea. I'm not sure I'm gonna go for it yet. I could just simply cut this part and do like a little smaller fold, but I'm thinking about it because if this is heavy and it goes folded, maybe the structure of the bottom of the sweater could be a little bit more clean, I would say. So I'm just putting this out there. I'll just figure it out. I'll do the stitching first just to comprehend how much extra length we have, then we'll figure this out. But so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pin and I'm gonna start sewing to, where's the sweater in my room? Here. I'm gonna sew this onto this and see how long this is, and then we'll figure this out. Let's do the pinning. All right, so here I'm just pinning the shoulder seams together, and then I'll just go down. I don't need to pin all the way down. I'm sort of used to just holding it now by hand. So I'll just start with one side and then I'll do the other side and we should be good. So I'll start from up, down, up, down. So for this sweater, we're going to use black thread. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm leaving this alone for now, the very end, and so I can figure out the fold a bit after. So I'm just going to go the other side for now and see if it aligns. But so far, so good. First piece is on. Now we attach the sleeve. Alright, so now I'm left with one problem. I finished assembling pretty much the sweater, but now I have those uneven ends that I need to figure out. So I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna do some folding, some stitching. The reason why it's uneven is because I have some curve, and with the curves, usually like it lands on a different height. And also the Dragon Ball Z sweater was longer in general. So I need to figure it out and even it out on every end, and hopefully I make it seamless and it looks professionally done. So let's do it. Alright, today's the next day and we're going to surprise him with the sweater. I cannot wait to see his reaction. The sweater is in this bag. Let's go. Attention, je te laisse voir. Je te laisse voir le bail. C'est cool, j'ai chanté. En vrai, mon père, il a kiffé.
Ah
Trop
ouais.
stylé.
Ah ouais, il y a un vrai délire.
Petit Goku sur le dos.
De ouf.
Comment il s'appelle lui déjà?
Tortue géniale. Ah non, franchement, il y a un vrai délire.
Ah, c'est la même que toi aussi, ouais, c'est ça.
Ouais, c'est ça, c'est la même chose. À part que celui-ci, c'est sans capuche.
Prends le dos, prends le dos. Ah mais en vrai c'est trop stylé, le Goku sur l'épaule là, genre là, elle est trop
Franchement,
stylée.
il y a un fond. Il y a un bug.
Il est trop chaud. Oh là là. Success.